is that admin burden something that you see very much falling to you, or now to the wider organisation around you?
I've happened upon accommodations.
Mm-hmm.
Before lockdown, I got myself a remarkable tube because my working memory is shocking and I write everything down, but then I could never find it in the books that I think. Whereas if I've got an e-ink, I can then search it and stuff. So whilst Remarkable 2 is good, other e-inks do exist.
Available. Yeah, other solutions are.
And this one is an Onyx book, so, and it interfaces with Microsoft. So I came up with these sort of solutions. When I had my, you can get through Access to Work, you can get some coaching, individual workplace strategies. We really, really struggled to find any ones that I hadn't already come up with myself naturally.
So you kind of built those up over your previously undiagnosed career. There's a probably good opportunity to bridge that then, because you talked about technology, you talked about accommodations and various other things. Going back to Ant first and then to Caroline, and you very much have worked through your whole life with this experience being very, very visible to you and to others, and perhaps less visible in later life as you've become moved away from your non-verbal phase, as you very openly talked about. Where is for you and perhaps for others the role of technology and accommodations in supporting you in sort of the things that you need?
So actually for me personally, it's the technology is going my way, right? So not having to go into the office every day. I mean, when I'm going into the office every day, I used to have to make excuses to take an hour out every 4 hours.
For those who are just listening to this podcast, Caroline has just given the most amazing thumbs up to Ant for that one. So sorry, Ant, to interrupt.
So I mean, because if I don't have an hour break from speaking to people, if I have 4 hours speaking to people and then don't have a break, I fall off a cliff. I lose the ability to speak for periods of time. I forget how to open doors, etc. But actually, I think, so I'm the opposite of Helen as well. So trying to link two together. My natural state without my mask is like showing no emotion. And so I find I make people very uncomfortable. So I'm wearing my mask now whenever I'm interacting with people. And I actually think, I see it as my duty to meet like 90% of the way there. Because when I think about it, where I came from, well, no one could possibly have been expected to meet me where I started. So my journey has been very long. And because of that, I do not disagree because people can do different routes, but I think I'm a lot more proactive than many autistic people and other neurodiversity labels of people that I've met, where I'm trying to fit in more as much as possible. But it's become so easy now with technology because all of the problems that used to be there are so easy to mitigate, and it's no skin off anyone's nose. So it's not a problem for people to meet you halfway anymore. And so just every aspect of non-technology. I just feel like the whole world is going my way. Food can be delivered because supermarkets are the worst thing in the world. There's so much stimulation. Going to a supermarket requires about 3 to 4 hours of planning. Have to memorize the route, look at the floor, so you're only looking up at the right section because you can't stop all that information coming in. So things like that, not just, all this use of technology, it's revolutionized my life completely.
Helen, you want to jump back in on that before I go to Caroline?
Well, for those of you that are allies, Ant just said something that you may not know about, and that's that we don't have good filters for input information, and this is one of the reasons we get tired, is because we take in everything. And that's what Ant was talking about, where he's like trying to limit what he's looking at on the shelf, or he's taking in everything.
Yes, thank you. Caroline, you obviously really resonated with some of the things that Ant said there about the way that society has moved forward with technology as well. Is there anything you want to sort of either come in on or add to that?
I kind of sit in the middle with you two, which is a weird place to be. So I kind of agree with Anne that like some of the technologies have benefited, especially if you've got things that can deliver, or we can do online conversations that require less kind of you, because there is I have periods where I go non-verbal, it's quite hard. So you have this kind of experience where you You can only do so much. You only have so much energy or so many spoons within the autistic world to be able to do things. So you have to really quantify that and plan it carefully. But also, the ADHD in me continuously forgets things on a regular basis, can't remember where she put anything, forgets to eat. So, that's a common one. So there's certain factors that you can do where it is important to have the kind of people support there. So, things like reminding me to have lunch whenever I was in leading teaching roles is key. Reminding me that, I don't need to be in the whole coding away and doing something. If I can get hyper-focus that can last forever, which is this ability to focus for hours on end.
Yes.
So there is quite it's a bit hit and miss there regarding what's benefited us and what kind of hasn't. But what I would say about all of this is it doesn't quite often, it misses out on, I'd say, one big factor, in that we do have different working styles. So, for example, Helen was talking about taking in more information. The average autistic takes in about 40% more information than everybody else. So, you're taking it in vast quantities all the time. And actually, when you start to kind of work, normal people on average use their focus time. It's about 3 hours, they say. An average person who's neurotypical is using their time at work, 3 hours of focus per day. But I can do 15 hours with straight focus, like you've probably never seen, but I'll have to take maybe 5 days off afterwards to recover a bit. So what we don't take into account is that you'll miss that kind of focused activity. So yes, you're going to get incredible work out of maybe an autistic or ADHD, or Audi. But the truth is that they may have to do incredible focused amounts of work, but they may need downtime after that.
Yeah.
And what tends to seem to happen is you hire somebody in and you'll get them to do the work, and then they do this incredible work, and then you give them more work, and then more work, and then they burn out, and then they leave. Just what you've got to do is build in lower pressured work, or expect that the work may fluctuate differently than the standard person, because we will not work at 3 hours of focus per day. We might work, 10 hours where we're just absolutely dedicated to one thing. We're totally in it. All it is that we talk about is that thing. And we might get incredible work done. But then at the end of it, we just might need a bit of a break then and to stay at home and have our meals online. So, there's got to be a bit more accounting that our working styles are different, hasn't it?
Yeah, and I think just from my own personal experience, I mentioned my daughter is just finishing university. She has hyperfocus, and one of the things I've realised with her is that hyperfocus may also be, 2 till 5 in the morning when she's writing a dissertation, and that might be the time when that manifests itself, and then it's the next day, as you said, Caroline, it's a complete write-off, and it's just having that understanding and that flexibility.